video is about something called voice. In writing, we often use voice to summarize the effects of two disparate things, your style and your tone. And these are both very large terms. I'm going to give you some simple definitions today, but know that these are not complete definitions. People have been debating what style and tone and even voice mean for many, many years, and you can read a lot of books about them if you're interested enough to want to study the different aspects and modes of rhetoric and writing, style and tone, form and voice. So very briefly, voice is what you get when you combine style, one writer's personal structure, and tone, the way that the writer chooses to address the audience that that writer imagines having. Style is a really unique trait for most writers, and that's important. You yourself have your own unique writing style that is different from the writing style of almost every other person, even people who were taught at your same school, and possibly people who grew up in your same family. Your style is yours alone. Your style is a combination of the vocabulary that you know and use, the form of sentences that you choose to write. For example, I told you in an earlier video that lots of my sentences are very long. That's part of my style, even if I'm working to change and improve that. Your style is also related to the way that you construct sentences, even to the amount of variety you have between sentences if you're thinking carefully about how to change your sentence structure from sentence to sentence. If I give any two students, even 100 students, the same writing assignment, for example, to describe a flower, or even to describe a piece of paper, no two students are going to describe that same item in exactly the same way. That's part of your style. Style is so unique that there are many scholars who spend a lot of time trying to find out if the same writer wrote two particular texts. For example, there are lots of people who believe that William Shakespeare didn't write all of his plays, but rather that some of his friends and colleagues in the theater world in early modern Britain wrote certain scenes of certain plays, that they wrote these plays collaboratively, or maybe even that certain writers wrote certain pieces of dialogue, so that they shared the voice that they each had. More recently, there's been an interesting case on Twitter, which has very short texts, where one scholar has claimed to be another scholar, and readers of both of those scholars, just their Twitter posts, all 280 characters of them, have been able to tell that the writer and her alter ego were actually the same person because their writing style was so
similar.
So style is the way you assemble things, and it is completely unique to you. That's not to say that you can't change your tone for different audiences. As I record this video for you, I'm recording a video for a college audience, so I can use vocabulary words and expressions and even references to Shakespeare that I wouldn't use if I were trying to record a video on voice for younger students. For example, third graders might not understand my reference to Shakespeare. In contrast, if I were giving a paper on rhetoric at an academic conference to other people who also have their doctorates, I might try to sound a little bit less approachable and a little bit more intellectual, just to make sure that those other scholars took me as seriously as possible. Of course, I wouldn't want to become inaccessible in the process, and I would still always have my own style at heart, but it would be important to me to merge those two things together. When you write, every piece of writing is going to be a combination of your style and your tone, and together those things will create the voice for your project. If you're writing for me, you won't do that the same way that you might write a text to a friend or even a Twitter post of your own, especially if you're writing an academic essay. The combination of your own style and the tone you choose to adopt when writing to me creates your voice.